A-State community. Each week, we'll meet with a variety of faculty, staff, and students to discuss all things Arkansas State University. Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, this is A-State Connections.
On ASU-TV, I am Luke Dunlap, a sports media major here at Arkansas State University. Facilities management is responsible for the basic operation and continuous maintenance of the physical facilities at Arkansas State University. Telling us more about what facilities management does is the Assistant Vice Chancellor of Facilities Management, Brian Lasey. Mr. Lasey, welcome to A-State Connections. How are we doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me, Luke.
Well, it's an honor to have you here. So tell us a little bit about facilities management here at Arkansas State University.
Well, in its simplest terms, facilities management operates and maintains all of the university's or most of the university's physical property. That's everything from buildings to trucks to cars to maintaining classrooms and everything you can think of in between.
Okay, wow. So what are the main responsibilities of the facilities management team?
The facilities management team is broken into a handful of areas, the largest of which is custodial operations. I think everybody's pretty familiar with a lot of the things that custodial operations does. We also have a grounds and motor pool department that mows grass, plants flowers, maintains university vehicles, a planning, design, and construction department that coordinates or contracts buildings, building new buildings, renovation of existing buildings, and a maintenance department that does a broad range of things, everything from keeping the lights on to making sure that the outlets in a building work and everything in between. Or more importantly here recently, keeping the air conditioning and the heat working.
Yes. So speaking of those things, you have all these things on your checklist. So how do you guys prioritize which tasks to tackle first on our campus?
Well, we do a lot of what we call in the facilities world firefighting, and we continually try to get away from the firefighting mode. But we usually prioritize requests or issues based on whether or not they're a safety concern, and then followed closely behind with how important they are to the university's ability to either hold an event or hold a class or things of that nature.
So is there like a communication system in there with, like how does that complaint system work? Or not complaint, grievances?
Most normal maintenance requests come in either with a phone call to our work order center, or there is an online portal where building liaisons or a separate portal for campus residents can enter their requests.
Okay, I've gotcha. So what is the role of facilities management with projects like such as the new veterinary school and other new projects along with like custodian like events?
Generally, a new construction project, we've got two big ones going on right now, the Wingate Center of Art and Innovation, and we're building a new building for the College of Veterinary Medicine. Generally, those projects start with the identification. The administration will identify the need or the opportunity that we're going to improve on or build additional square footage for a particular program. Then the planning, design, and construction group will refer to our master plan, see where we want to include that or where's a good place to include that, and then start hiring architects and coordinating with the folks that are going to occupy it.
So is there like, when it comes to hiring architects and contractors, how do you guys go through that system of requesting contractors and the likes?
There's a couple of different methods that we use, and we generally choose one or the other depending on the size of the project. For larger projects like the Wingate building or the College of Veterinary Medicine, there's a formal selection process that we have to use following state procurement guidelines where we interview prospective design professionals, architects, or the contractors, or I should say, and the contractors, before we can start work on those. For smaller jobs, we have a pre-existing list where we've pre-bid certain contractors and certain architects for those jobs.
Okay. So with so many maintenance needs and projects on campus, how do you prioritize which projects get worked on? You said kind of like firefighting, and is there any other methods that you guys use with like repairs and dorm facilities and stuff like that?
Well, outside of the things we discussed earlier with the obvious, we want to jump right on something that poses a safety concern or a safety hazard. And then we also want to make sure we don't leave anything out there that's going to prevent a class from happening or prevent an event from happening. We also have a pretty long list of preventative things we do, everything from as simple as changing filters in HVAC systems and greasing bearings so that those systems work as efficient as they possibly can and minimize downtime. But occasionally they get old and they fail, and then they become a priority. And one of those fires that I mentioned earlier, if the air conditioning goes down, it's pretty hard to have a class.
Okay. So what would be, like, for instance, what are some of y'all's biggest challenges with so many things to cover? Like, what difficulties do y'all face in the process of dealing with these issues?
Here lately, our biggest problem is, excuse me, not that different than a lot of other industries out there, but it's hiring people to accomplish the amount of work that we have. We have a staff that's just shy of 200 people, and at any given time, we have in the neighborhood of 150, which means we've got quite a few openings that mean we have to shuffle from here and there to hit that prioritization that I talked about, make sure we don't let too many things drop.
And what would that time frame be that you guys take action on these requests and all these challenges? Like, what would that time frame be in which you guys dealt with that?
Well, there's a bunch of factors that affect that too. Some of those bigger ones that I talked about, just the procurement process alone, there are a lot of checks and balances in place to make sure that we follow the right purchasing rules and the right contracting rules. Some of the more emergency-related ones, like the air conditioning's down and we've got to fix it. We have some plans in place and some people on staff that can jump right on those things and get those kind of things done a lot faster.
Okay. So talk to me a little bit more about, like, those plans and that action that you have to take in there.
Well, our plans sometimes revolve, our plans in that area anyway, sometimes revolve around that staffing issue that I mentioned. We have a handful of places where we try our best to use our own folks, have people on staff so that we can respond faster, but there's a couple of instances where the market, if you will, for employees with certain skill sets has gotten it's gotten hard to compete in, so we've had to reach elsewhere and hire a few outsourcing companies so that we can respond quickly to some of those emergency things.
Okay. That makes sense. I mean, obviously you can't get things done just like that anymore. It takes time, and I really think it's really neat how you guys have those procedures in place to make sure that everyone has their needs met within a certain time frame. That's really great to hear. So how do you coordinate with other departments such as like housing, academic buildings, and grounds and stuff like that?
We work pretty closely with housing. There's a comfort level that we try to maintain. There's a cleanliness issue in university housing that our custodial staff tries to maintain. We have a portion of our staff who work primarily on housing-related issues, and it's a pretty large portion of the staff. Going around making sure that showers work, heat works, air conditioning works, restrooms are clean. They spend a lot of time and a lot of hours, a lot of man hours, keeping the large number of people that live on campus safe and happy and warm and able to study. And
So talk to us a little bit more about the custodian system. We were talking about this earlier before we went on air, but just talk to me a little bit more about like how they coordinate with each other in attempts to like keep our campus clean and very like, I mean, bright and shiny, you know, like as beautiful as it is, you got to credit it to the custodians.
so the custodial staff, they're kind of some, I guess I want to say unsung heroes a lot. A lot of the work they do is either after hours or in a lot of cases before hours. We have multiple shifts that overlap when things are happening or occurring on campus. For instance, we can't vacuum every classroom while classes are being held. So we have shifts that start before a lot of those things occur, classes or other events on campus. So the custodial staff doesn't always get a lot of credit for the work they've done there. But nonetheless, we have a minimum standard we try to attend to make sure that things are clean and that there's even a safety aspect to the cleaning, that we try to make sure everything's safe and clean. But we don't often give a lot of credit to those folks because they're doing it when a lot of students and other members of the campus community aren't around.
Yes, it's like you hit the nail on the head right there with the unsung heroes. I really put it as like the facilities management crew as a whole, I say, is like the backbone of our
Thanks.
school. Just really, because I mean, without a building to have classes in, without clean bathrooms, like we just can't have the things we do. So it's like you guys really are the backbones, unsung heroes of this school. So with that being said, are there any recent or upcoming renovation or construction projects that you're excited about currently?
Well, we've talked about two of the big ones that are ongoing. The university hasn't added the number of square feet that we currently have under construction in quite a long time. The largest construction project prior to that was the humanities building and the expansion at football, and those were both quite a few years ago. We are in the beginning stages of the architectural design for a new program the university's working on called Crest. We'll be building a couple of buildings over on the corner, well, eventually maybe even 3 buildings, over on the corner of Aggie and Red Wolf for that. That's going to be kind of a fast-track thing. There's a lot of buzz in the community and across the state for the things they'll be doing in those buildings, and there'll probably be a lot of attention as that project kicks off.
Yes, well, we're really looking forward to it. Associate Vice Chancellor of Facilities Management, Brian Lasey, joins us on A-State Connections here today. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more A-State Connections.
Students should watch ASU-TV just to see the creativity that a college student can get. The creativity that some of these students have is truly amazing. Getting that experience can really just take you further, and I feel like our program does that for a lot of students.
I think one of the things I learned at Arkansas State was life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you respond to it, and that's just something that I live by.
A-State is home, and they're going to treat you like you're a part of the family.
Red Wolf Radio is a student-led organization at Arkansas State University wanting to hear your takes on pop culture, music, the news, and college life. Just about anything you can think of. Located in the Education and Communications building on campus, we are always looking for more volunteers. So if you're an Arkansas State University student, no matter the major, and this is something that interests you, shoot us an email at redwolfradio@astate.edu. That's redwolfradio@astate.edu. Let them hear you howl.
Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, this is A-State Connections.
Welcome back to A-State Connections on ASU-TV. Once again, I'm your host, Luke Dunlap. We are continuing our conversation with Assistant Vice Chancellor of Facilities Management, Mr. Brian Lasey. Mr. Lasey, once again, thank you for coming on the show today. We're so glad to have you.
My pleasure, Luke.
So, jumping back in right where we left off, what is one thing you wish more people understood about your work?
I guess I would say I wish that people understood the what a big deal our staffing challenge is lately, and that particular challenge is consistent with what we've seen elsewhere. You've probably seen a hiring sign in most places you go nowadays, and that we're having that same issue, which obviously in a lot of cases could potentially impact how fast we can respond to anything, or whether we can even respond at all in some cases.
Right. So what protocols are in place with the issues that you guys can respond to ensure student and staff safety during the work on these projects?
We work pretty closely with the university's health and safety office. Obviously, there are the OSHA-related guidelines. The state of Arkansas has their own set of rules that we have to follow as opposed to the actual OSHA guidelines, but they're very similar. So those will oftentimes drive everything from what kind of safety measures we have to put up, like barriers to keep people out of a work zone. But they also define things that we need to make sure our employees do, everything from wearing the right personal protective equipment to not endangering themselves in a variety of ways.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, you absolutely want to ensure both not only the safety of students and staff, but your own workers and contractors as well.
Yep.
So how do you handle requests from students or faculty?
Most requests from students or faculty come in basically one of three ways. There is a portal, an online portal that residents can use. There is also an online portal or a phone number that faculty members can use, but most faculty members will send their maintenance requests in via their building liaison. We work pretty closely with the building liaisons and communicate with them quite a lot. Every building has one. And then the third way is actually anybody can call that same work order number. And then everything gets routed accordingly, either to the projects team that might be if you have a renovation request, they will receive that request and it'll get handed off to the renovation folks. Or if there's this one happens more often than I'd care to admit, we have a classroom with a breaker that's tripped. Then someone will call that same number and we'll send somebody over as quickly as we can get them over to get that situation rectified.
Sounds great. Like, it sounds like y'all really have a plethora of just methods and like ways to just tackle anything that comes y'all's way. That's why it's really fun talking to you today, is just finding out all these things. I'm gonna be honest, I did not know many things at all about facilities management, and you're coming in here and just, man, it's been really good.
Good. So
how can students or staff better support your work?
I would say remember to be patient. In most cases, our response time is directly related to the number of people that have shown up at work on any given day, or our ability to either source parts or something like that. And a lot of those things are beyond our control. We've all heard how long it takes to buy parts. We've all been to the grocery store and seen when we didn't have eggs. Well, the same thing might be true about an odd kind of light bulb that would require a light to be out for an extended period of time. So just a little bit of patience and realize that we are actually working on it even though you may not have seen us there working on it.
Okay. So what is the most rewarding part of this job at facilities management for ASU?
Well, I think everybody that works at the university has to realize that we take an active part in the university's mission of education. So for me personally, it's contributing to, basically the education of the society as a whole, of producing more college graduates in Arkansas, right?
It's great to hear. I mean, yeah, every year. I mean, because with all the students that keep coming in here and keep graduating, there's something to be accredited to you guys as well.
I like to think so. Thanks.
There absolutely is. So is there anything you'd like the campus community to know about facilities management that we have not covered here yet?
That patience piece is a big part of it. I realize that a lot of times it's, if your office is hot or cold, you need that fixed pretty quickly.
Yes.
But exercising that patience part, we are working on it. We are trying to get to things as quickly as we can. And whenever we have a job posted, if we love employing students or other members of the campus community, but send all those notifications you might see out to all of your friends that would be interested in working for A-State.
Absolutely. And going back to that heating and air, I've just got a few more. So what are y'all's preparations for the upcoming winter and other seasons, like as they come and go? Like, do y'all have special accommodations and preparations that you guys make for the university as a whole?
Yeah, actually, we spend a lot of time getting ready for winter. There's obviously a comfort-related thing that we have to work on. We want to make sure that the heat is ready to go when we need the heat. Part of that is an education thing. There's a lot of things in, say, residence halls where we have to work with students that, okay, you need to, the air conditioning or the heating works this way. And it doesn't always work the way it works at home. These commercial systems are kind of weird, for lack of a better phrase. But the other thing we do is all kinds of, we're winterizing irrigation systems so that those things don't freeze. There are cases where we're working on fire suppression systems so that the exposed pipes in those don't freeze. We're changing filters in those HVAC systems as they switch from heat to cool. We want to make sure the filters are clean. We're going around and restoring seals on doors. We're going around making sure that the closers on doors work. We're wasting a lot of heat when it just goes right out the door. Mm-hmm. Those kind of things.
And with preparations for those, you have the inevitable snowstorm that strikes, or like say there is something that requires like only essential workers. How do you determine who is essential for the jobs of like clearing out the pathways whenever it snows, or just keeping the campus clean during times when it is shut down due to weather?
At a minimum, we have a team that we build of employees that can come to work during that closure, and that's our first line of defense. One of the variables that determines how we're going to react is how deep is the snow, how fast does it come, how much notice do we get that it's going to snow. But that first line of defense is a team of our own employees, and then we have a couple of degrees of contracting we'll bring on if it's really something bigger that's hard or difficult to handle.
So what do you see in the next 5 years? Once we get past this winter phase and you just got the rest, like the next 5 years, say, what do you see as the biggest challenges for the facilities management crew?
I think it's going to continue to be that hiring piece. There are a lot of things going on in Arkansas that are kind of exciting about emphasizing the value of those particular jobs, which we think is going to help the market for employees that have that skill set. That's going to continue to be our biggest challenge, and the fact that we are now the university are now taking a more active role in educating people in those areas is pretty exciting.
So can students be involved as part of the facilities management crew? Is there any way for students to get involved?
We have a couple of student worker positions that we advertise from time to time. Students, we have, at any given time, we probably have about a dozen or so students that work in either custodial or other positions. There's actually a tuition benefit for full-time employees. It does it oftentimes, I should say, will make it a little difficult to be a full-time student,
right?
But there are students that do that. And we're generally pretty generous with putting folks on a particular shift so that they can meet their educational goals.
Absolutely. That's really great to hear that you guys offer opportunities for students like myself to just get involved and help keep this campus clean and up to date and up to tip-top shape standards that the university's mission statement promotes. Anything else you'd like to add here today?
No, I think we've hit all the high points.
I'm glad to hear that. Well, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for coming on this show. And as for us, that will do it for this edition of A-State Connections. Once again, I'm your host, Luke Dunlap, with A-State Connections and host of Tipped Off with Luke Dunlap on Spotify. And you can find me on Instagram at LDTippedOff and at Luke Dunlap5 for my main. I want to thank my guest once again, Mr. Brian Lasey, for joining me today. I also want to say a huge thank you to the instructor of creative media production, Galen Perkins, and his amazing students in Video Production 1, who are behind the scenes running this show today. I absolutely could not host this show without them. Special thanks to our producer today, Mr. Jonathan Reeves, and to our broadcast engineer, Timmy Arquette, Aiden Barber, and graduate assistant Reese Barnett for their help on this show. Thank you all for joining us, and as for me, I'm Luke Dunlap, clocking out on a high note. Take care, y'all.